You picked up your phone this morning, and within minutes, someone else's life was already inside your head. Maybe it was someone your age who just got promoted. Maybe it was someone who looks better, earns more, has more followers, more confidence, more of everything that you feel like you are still chasing. And just like that, before the day even started, you already felt behind. You already felt less. Not because anything in your life got worse overnight, but because you saw someone else's life, and suddenly yours did not feel like enough anymore. And the worst part? You are going to do it again tomorrow. And the day after that. Because it is not a habit you chose. It is something that just happens now. You scroll, you compare, you shrink. You scroll, you compare, you shrink. Over and over again, quietly, every single day. And every single time it happens, a little bit of your energy, your focus, and your belief in yourself gets transferred out of your own life and into someone else's highlight reel. This is not a small thing. This is silently running your life. And if you have ever felt that tight, hollow feeling in your chest when you see someone thriving and you are still figuring things out, then what you are about to hear is going to completely change the way you see yourself, the way you measure yourself, and the way you move forward from today. Here is what comparing yourself to others is actually doing to you, and it goes much deeper than just feeling bad for a few minutes. When you measure your life against someone else's, you are not getting an honest picture of anything. You are comparing your entire behind the scenes, every doubt, every failure, every hard morning, every slow day, against someone else's front stage. Their best angle. Their biggest moment. Their carefully chosen highlight. You are comparing the full messy truth of your journey against a curated version of theirs. And that comparison will never be fair. It was never designed to be fair. And yet you use it to decide how well you are doing. You use it to decide whether you are enough. And here is where the real damage happens. When you are constantly measuring yourself against other people, you stop running your own race. You start running theirs. You start chasing goals that were never actually yours. You start wanting things not because they align with who you are or where you are going, but because someone else has them and you do not. And chasing someone else's life, with your energy, your time, your one life, is one of the most exhausting things a human being can do. Because no matter how fast you run, you will never arrive. Because it is not your destination. And while you are busy looking sideways, your own path, the one that is actually meant for you, is sitting right there, waiting for your attention. And every second you spend measuring yourself against someone else is a second you are not spending on the person who actually matters in this equation. You. You were not falling behind because you were not moving. You were falling behind because you were moving in the wrong direction. Toward someone else's version of success. Away from your own. And that is exactly what Seneca saw, 2,000 years ago, with a clarity that still cuts right to the bone today. Seneca was one of the most powerful men in Rome. He was an advisor to emperors, a philosopher, a writer, and a man who had seen extraordinary wealth, fame, and influence up close. And what he observed, watching the people around him and watching himself, was something that almost no one talks about honestly. He saw that comparison does not push people forward. It pulls them off their path. He wrote about how people spend their entire lives measuring themselves against others, against what others have, what others earn, what others look like, what others have achieved, and in doing so, they lose the only thing that actually produces real progress. Their own focus. Their own direction. Their own honest relationship with themselves. Seneca said it directly. He said that you should not look at who is ahead of you or who is behind you. Look at where you were. Because the only comparison that gives you honest, useful, actionable information is the comparison between who you are today and who you were before. That is the only measurement that belongs to you. That is the only one built on your actual ground, your actual starting point, your actual life. And this was not just philosophy for Seneca. It was survival. He understood that a person who is constantly distracted by other people's lives cannot build their own. That every moment of energy spent measuring yourself against someone else is energy that is no longer available for the thing that matters. Which is becoming better than you were yesterday. Not better than someone else. Better than the version of you that existed before. He also made a distinction that almost everyone gets wrong. He said there is a difference between looking at someone who is ahead of you for inspiration, and looking at them to judge yourself. One fuels you. The other drains you. When you look at someone who has built something great and think, that shows me what is possible, that is useful. That is a tool. But when you look at the same person and think, I am not that, I am less than that, I will never be that, you have turned a potential source of fuel into a weapon you are using against yourself. And Seneca would tell you to put that weapon down. Not because ambition is wrong. But because self-hatred is the least productive place you can possibly build from. Real progress, he understood, is internal. It does not show up in a comparison with someone else. It shows up in the quiet, honest conversation you have with yourself when you ask, am I better than I was? Did I do more today than I did before? Did I handle that situation better than I would have 6 months ago? Those questions lead somewhere. The comparison with other people leads nowhere. It just keeps you spinning, never settling, never satisfied, never fully in your own life. Here is how you actually take this out of your head and put it into your real daily life. 3 steps. Simple. Honest. Starting today. Step 1. Replace the outward measure with an inward one. The next time you catch yourself comparing your life to someone else's, stop. Not to beat yourself up for doing it. Just stop. And ask yourself one question. Compared to who I was 6 months ago, am I better? That is it. That is the only question that matters. Are you handling your emotions better than you were before? Are you more consistent than you were before? Are you treating people better, thinking more clearly, making smarter decisions, taking better care of yourself than you were before? Because if the answer to any of those is yes, then you are winning. Regardless of what anyone else is doing. Regardless of what anyone else has. You are moving in the right direction on your own path. And that is the only direction that actually changes your life. Start keeping track of this. Not in a complicated way. Just notice it. Once a week, ask yourself honestly, in what one way am I further along than I was before? One way. That is all. Because when you start measuring progress against your own past self, you start seeing it. And when you start seeing it, you stop needing someone else's life to tell you how you are doing. Step 2. Use other people as fuel, not as a measuring stick. This is the shift that turns comparison from a poison into a power. When you see someone who has achieved something you want, your brain has 2 options. It can say, they have it and I do not, which means something is wrong with me. Or it can say, they have it, which means it is possible, which means I have something to work toward. One of those thoughts destroys your energy. The other one builds it. And you get to choose which one runs. From today, every time you see someone who is further along than you, let it be proof. Not proof that you are behind. Proof that where you want to go is real. That someone got there means the path exists. That is all you need from them. You do not need their timeline. You do not need their exact journey. You just need to know that where you want to go is possible. Take that, and then put your eyes back on your own work. That is how you use other people correctly. As evidence. Not as judges. Step 3. Audit what you are feeding your mind every single day. This is the one most people skip. And it is the one that makes every other step either easier or nearly impossible. Because if you are spending hours every day inside an environment that is built entirely around showing you other people's best moments, their wins, their looks, their numbers, their life, then comparison is not a habit you have. It is a system you are living inside of. And you cannot out-discipline a system. You have to change the system. This does not mean delete everything and disappear. It means be honest about what you are consuming and what it is doing to you. If there are accounts, feeds, or spaces that consistently leave you feeling less than, smaller than, behind, then you have the ability to step back from them. Not because you are afraid of other people's success, but because your focus is the most valuable thing you own. And what you point it at every day determines what your life becomes. Point it at things that remind you of your own potential. Point it inward. Point it forward. That is where your life actually is. I want you to sit with something for a moment. Because this is the part that matters most. There is a version of you from 1 year ago. And if that version of you could see you right now, could see what you have been through, what you have figured out, what you have survived, what you have quietly built without anyone giving you a round of applause for it, that version of you would be stunned. Because you have already become more than you were. You have already done things you did not know you could do. You have already moved through things that felt impossible when they were in front of you. That is not nothing. That is everything. And the reason you cannot see it is because you have been too busy looking at someone else. The person you are comparing yourself to is not living your life. They are not carrying what you carry. They did not start where you started. They do not have your specific combination of challenges, your background, your history, the things you are working through right now. Their path is theirs. Yours is yours. And yours is not less just because it looks different. It is just different. And different is not behind. Seneca understood something that most people live their whole lives without grasping. That the race most people are running, the race of who has more, who looks better, who got there faster, is a race with no finish line. It never ends. Because there will always be someone ahead. Always. And if your sense of worth depends on being ahead of other people, then your sense of worth will never be stable. It will always be at the mercy of what someone else is doing. And that is not freedom. That is a prison with a very comfortable looking door. Real freedom, the kind Seneca wrote about, the kind that actually changes how you walk through your life, comes from the moment you stop needing the comparison. The moment you can look at someone else's success and feel genuinely nothing but goodwill toward them, because you are so focused on your own path, so committed to your own growth, so clear on your own direction, that their journey simply has no power over yours. That is self-mastery. Not the absence of ambition. The presence of your own standard. You are not behind. You are not less. You are someone who is doing the work, on your own path, at your own pace, building something real. And the only person who needs to see that progress, the only person whose opinion of your growth actually shapes your future, is you. Stop measuring your life with someone else's ruler. You will never get an accurate reading. Here is your one sentence to carry with you from today. The only version of yourself worth competing with is the one you were yesterday. Here is your challenge. Today, write down one way you are better than you were 6 months ago. Just one. It does not have to be big. It just has to be true. Then drop it in the comments. Because every single person who reads it is someone who needed to be reminded that real growth is quiet, personal, and already happening. You are not the same person who started this video. Act like it.